Another one of my specialties is working with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And there is an inventory that I do with each client as they come in, and it goes as follows. In your life, have you ever had any experience that was so frightening, horrible, or upsetting that in the last month you had nightmares about it or thought about it when you didn't want to? Tried hard not to think about it, went out of your way to avoid situations that remind you of it. We're constantly on guard, watchful, or easily startled, felt numb or detached from others, activities, or your surroundings. As you can see by those 4 symptoms, they apply to a much broader range than just folks who have been to war. Complex PTSD is when a person has grown up in an environment where a PTSD incident continues over a period of time, months, even years. It can be very difficult to treat complex PTSD, which is why I became an EMDR trained therapist. EMDR goes into that event or events and helps to move it from the frozen state of the memory of when the incident happened, and it helps move it into history. It stops being in the forefront. Example, the reason that EMDR works the way that it does is because you are moving, there's a hand movement, and you're moving your eyes from left to right and left to right at a certain speed that's comfortable for you. This is the same movement that your eyes make when you're sleeping at night. That's REM sleep. As scientists have discovered that when you're in REM sleep, your mind takes the events of the day out of your short-term memory and it files them where they belong, cross-references them. The mind's job is to cross-reference material so that you can pull it up when you need it. It knows dates, it knows holidays, it knows colors, shapes, people. There's so many categories that the brain can put things in. What happens when there's no category for the brain is it just leaves it in the short-term memory. That's where the trauma lies. There's no place to put it, so it's stored in short-term memory. That's why the person is easily startled. That's why they have nightmares about it or thoughts come up unbidden, because it's in the short-term memory. And what EMDR does is it takes that trauma from your short-term memory and it puts it, I say there's a file folder in your brain for every year of your life. It takes that event and it puts it in the appropriate folder. So if you can imagine a folder and the traumatic event is like a paper, like kind of sticking up, your brain goes along, it skips over that. Traumatic events are like a piece of paper that's not tucked down in the file folder. And so what EMDR does is just tucks it down, so that when you look at the file folders of your life, everything's all lined up and everything's all tucked in. That's my shorthand of what EMDR does. You can't imagine the freedom that comes from having more of your short-term memory available for remembering things like the list of groceries you need to get from the store, what time you told your kids you'd be there to pick them up. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want to bring awareness to PTSD, and I want to bring that awareness so that folks know that there's a reason why you are having the complications in your life that you're having, why you're having difficulty of forming long-lasting relationships, why your temper is so short, why you can just blow your top so quickly and easily, seemingly with little provocation. It's because of the PTSD anxiety. When you find a helper of some sort, that person then begins to walk you down the path of healing those traumas. If you're not sure how to find a helper, DM me on Instagram and I'll be happy to point the way. There's also quite a few channels on YouTube of helpers that can also help guide you. And I'll put a list of those, some of those channels in the description of this video. I guess the takeaway point is that there is help. You don't have to live your life feeling like you're a prisoner from your past. You do have the right to live a full and free and joyful life, regardless of the situations of your past. That's the message.